My people, it is Mike, and this is not an ad. Just reminding you that we are doing a live podcast on Thursday, September 29th at Cedar Ridge Distillery in Swisher, Iowa. Tickets will sell out if they haven't already. So if you want some, you click the link in the episode notes immediately. We are reviewing Roadhouse live in front of a studio audience. It's going to be awesome.
That sways.
Start the show, I guess.
Just do it.
Well, hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Confused Breakfast Podcast. Do you remember the pure joy of a trip to the video rental store as a kid?
Yeah.
The excitement of walking down the aisles, browsing the names and the artwork, and finally picking out the movie you're going to take home with you. Sure, it's hard to beat the ease of the modern era and streaming platforms where you don't even have to leave your couch, but there was something truly special about getting in your car, listening to K-Billy's super sounds of the 70s on the way to the movie rental store, and picking out your favorite movie to take home with you. On this podcast, we revisit and dissect some of our favorite childhood movies from the magical era to see if they still move us the way they did as kids. I'm your host, Mike Schulte, and joining me as always, Mr. Black and Mr. Green.
Hey.
How the heck are you?
I'm great, man.
All right.
I'd call Mr. Black.
I want to be Mr. Black.
I was leaving it up to whoever just felt like saying
I'll be
it.
Mr. Black. It'll be fine. And
You're
you'll be-
Mr. Black. I'm Mr. Green, and that's
You're Mr.
going to be the
Black.
way it is.
You're Mr. Black.
Some guy on some other job is Mr.
Mr.
Yellow.
Purple.
Mr. Purple.
Mr. Purple. You're not Mr. Purple. You're Mr. Pink.
Of course, he has a fucking perfect impression.
Lawrence Tierney. I don't know how.
Great Lawrence Tierney impression.
Say Remy Martin for me real quick.
Remy Martin.
Thank you. Well, it is time to introduce today's movie, my friends. On this episode, we discuss the directorial major film debut of one of the most famous directors of all time, a movie that changed the game for aspiring filmmakers worldwide and made us all never able to listen to Stuck in the Middle with You the same way again. Number 91 top-rated movie on IMDb.
DBBB.
Hey, baby,
Double B's.
Baby. We are, of course, talking about 1992's Reservoir Dogs.
Confused Breakfast!
I bet Tarantino likes Mortal Kombat, and I bet he likes that
I
song.
highly think he does not like it.
I bet he does.
Let's ask him.
I really want him to be a Mortal Kombat fan.
I would love that.
And today's guest, we have Quentin Tarentino here.
Come on in.
Come on into
Shaun
the
has
bathroom
pissed
door.
himself.
Oh, my God. I just died.
For those looking to find the movie, as of the recording of this episode in early July 2022, HBO Max, Lord and Savior, has
Yep.
it. I think it's got most of the Tarantino movies.
Yeah, Jackie Brown's on there. Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 are on there.
Can you believe that?
H-Bow.
H-Bo.
H-Bow.
Yeah, KBBBB. So in order to properly dissect and review this movie with a modern eye, we must first discuss it with pure nostalgia. AJ, let's start with you. Tell us the first time you saw this movie and what your nostalgic rating is. I've never seen it.
No. So I had a buddy. His name was Michael Blackman, and he was like, it pains me to say it because I know like we probably picked on him a little bit, but at the same time, he was a very good friend of
I
mine
was
though
wondering why
too.
you're stuttering so much.
And yeah, because I don't feel good about that. But at the same time, we did hang out. He was like, obviously we did because he was like the smartest person that I knew. So that's just what you do because
Totally
it's the
redeemed
90s, right? That's just what you. Yeah. But anyways, that's what all movies taught us. You just pick on the smartest person. Anyways, no. But he was a really good friend, and now he's like, I think he's part of like the New York bar. And he's literally an Esquire.
Oh, wow.
So
So, yeah, he went on to do some
He was
good
good.
things. You're sitting in a chair talking in a microphone. Right?
exactly. we had different paths.
Fine.
Yeah. And so, but he told me about this movie. He's like, and he would ask me, he's like, have you ever seen Reservoir Dogs? Keep in mind, we're like 12.
Oh, yeah.
He's just a movie buff, you know? And I was like, no, I've never seen this movie. I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, you'll never listen to like Stuck in the Middle with You the same way ever again.
And he was right.
And he was absolutely right. We were 12.
And you're like, what's stuck in the middle with you?
Yeah. And I knew the song
Okay.
because I think we were listening to the song, but
Okay.
he was like, have you ever seen
Bro.
Reservoir Dogs?
Have you ever seen
And
Reservoir Dogs on weed?
So on weed, we were 12.
I know. Small town Iowa, bro.
You're right. No, but like, and then from there, I did finally see it, and I didn't get it. Like, I really didn't get it. I thought it was kind of boring. I was like, it's a lot of talking. I was like, well, did the thing already happen? Like, I thought I came into it in the middle. I'm notorious for this. And but
a movie that finally justifies your way of watching.
Yeah,
movies.
exactly. You know, like, see, Tarantino gets me. But anyways, I didn't really get it. I thought I missed something, and that's kind of the way I went about it, like watching the movie. So I would honestly just have to just give this a straight up 5. Straight up 5.
This is nostalgic. This is your first watch. Shaun, what about you?
My God, man. We'll get into it as we go along, but I mean, the person in high school that Michael Blackman.
Mm-hmm.
You probably would have made fun of me then too, because I was super into this. I had to first have seen it. Just like getting into cinema, I was given videotapes. I was given like Full Metal Jacket. Check out Stanley Kubrick. I was given Goodfellas. Check out Martin Scorsese. I was given Reservoir Dogs. Check out Quentin Tarantino. And I rented this from Hollywood Video. And as soon as the first scene ended and it went into Little Green Bag, I was like, what is going on here? I've never seen this before in my entire life in an amazing way.
This follows no design patterns.
Yeah.
This is not like Scores.
Yeah. This was this was a pinnacle movie for me, and I think this is in my top 5 favorite movies of all time just because of how much it influenced me. And that's every budding filmmaker can say that probably, but it was everything to me. I watched it so many times back then. This is like the era of watching special features and everything like that, wanting to know way more about what the hell's going on. Back then, man, I thought it was my favorite movie of all time, so I have to give it a 10.
Favorite movie of all time for the Shauners. I saw Pulp Fiction first, like many people. Then I went back to this. Definitely liked Pulp Fiction better. It was more polished. So this was like, I loved Pulp Fiction. So this was like, okay, right? It was like the first time I liked the dialogue. I related to some of the aspects of it, as we'll get into later. Great soundtrack, great storytelling, but not as good as Pulp Fiction. So nostalgically, I'm a 7, just first watch. Like, oh, pretty good movie. And Tyler Dark, executive producer, this is his choice. He has chosen this movie.
Good choice.
He said, this is definitely one I watched when I was a teen, probably 15 to 16 years old. I was excited to see another Quentin Tarantino film hot off the heels of watching Kill Bill Parts 1 and 2. I was a fiend for action and expected all of his movies to be off-the-wall kill fests. Needless to say, I was surprised when I watched this one and found out it was a kind of whodunit, but for the bad guys. I remember not liking this movie actually until I watched it for a second time and really sat down and watched the movie for what it was, not what I thought it was supposed to be. So this may be kind of cheating, but I'm going to nostalgically rate this movie based on the second viewing and not the first, and that score is going to be a solid 7.5.
Oh, yeah.
Before I leave you all for the modern review, I want to ask, if you haven't already said before this, what are your colors? I think I'd like to be Mr. Green. He wants to be Mr. Green. I'm Mr. Pink.
Mr. Pink's great.
I think we're not picking based off the movie. We're just picking off of colors. Like,
yeah,
I want to be Mr. Pink.
You just want to be a color. Just what's your color?
Just what's your color? I'm Mr. Pink.
Okay.
Mr. Blonde is so fucking badass, but I think
cool.
I have to go Mr. Orange because of my Flyers love.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mr. Orange.
There you go. I think I'd be Mr. Purple.
Nice.
Mr. Purple.
Mr. Purple.
You were on that other job.
Yeah. It's a different job. Yeah.
I love it. So nostalgically, we are a 7.38. That's going to put us, it's getting to the top. It was actually a little more middle there. That is slightly better than Jurassic Park, slightly worse than Uncle Buck. Nostalgically. Wow. And again, we don't put much stock into that because it's just like whatever. I mean, it's just weird.
Right. Yeah.
I love all those movies. Let's do a triple feature.
When you say you don't put too much stock, is it like stock, like
yes.
broth?
Correct.
Or is it stock like the market?
No, both.
Okay, it's broth market. Okay, market broth.
And you can find that at confusedbreakfast.com.
Hey, all right.
Oh, market broth. Ooh.
Well, thankfully, our amazing sponsor does not make broth. We want to tell you about our amazing sponsor, Pepper Joe's. The results are in.
Yeah.
You guys have been ordering some of their products and absolutely loving it. Us too. I think I've made 3 different orders now.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'll just get one more beef jerky.
I've
And
just-
then I eat it. And then I need more beef jerky.
I've decided I'm gonna order up gonna get the Scotch bonnet plant.
Cool.
The seedling.
Nice.
Yes, I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna try it out.
I think you should make a YouTube video of it.
I will do it.
If you love spicy foods, you're going to love Pepper Joe's. Not only are the products truly incredible, but the variety is out of this world. From salsas and jerkies, sauces and spices, and more, you're sure to find the spicy snack you're craving. They even, like AJ said, you can order seeds to grow plants. You can order live plants to do from home. They essentially, at the greenhouse here in Iowa, they're growing the hottest peppers and can deliver them straight to your doorstep. Ghost, Carolina Reaper, Habanero, Scorpion, Cayenne, Jalapeno, and more. From mild to extreme, they have you covered. They hooked us up with a huge box of stuff. We've got a few things here. We've got a Carolina Reaper summer sausage, which is unreal, by the way. We've got
Chocolate.
Ghost Pepper Salsa, and they actually have a chocolate bar. It's like a Carolina Reaper chocolate bar.
Raging Reaper chocolate bar.
I'm scared as shit to try that.
I want to try it though, but I also don't want to undo the packaging because it's
Correct.
dope.
It looks dope.
Technically, I have to try it on this episode.
Technically.
Technically.
After. We'll have you try it at the end just in case you die. We got a Pepper Joe's Hot Take segment taking place later in the show. We'll give you a hot take about this movie. Stay tuned. If you're ready to spice up your life, head to pepperjoes.com. New customers get 10% off their first order with promo code CONFUSED. Pepperjoes.com. Load that cart up. Awesome hot and spicy stuff because it's your first time. You get 10% off. Promo code CONFUSED. Do it. Support this amazing sponsor who supports this podcast. Yeah.
Love it.
Next, it's time to learn all the pertinent, important details of the movie. Shaun, try to keep it under 5 minutes if you can, please.
I was born for this.
I don't even need my notes.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, it is right there. Produced by Lawrence Bender, edited by Sally Menke,
Menke.
R.I.P. A longtime collaborator of Tarantino until Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. See, we got here director of photography and Andre Sukala, makeup effects by the great KNB, written and directed by God himself, Quentin Tarantino. Cast: Tim Roth, Harvey Keitel, Michael Madsen, Steve Buscemi, Lawrence Tierney, Chris Penn, Eddie Bunker, Kirk Baltz, Randy Brooks, and Quentin Tarantino. Tarantino was working at a video store called Video Archives in Manhattan Beach, California, where he would gain a lot of knowledge in cinema and in general and spread his knowledge to customers. Quentin sold many scripts at this time, including True Romance to Tony Scott and Natural Born Killers to Oliver Stone. Many directors wanted the script for Reservoir Dogs, including Tony Scott, but Tarantino wanted to keep it for his first feature. Technically, he had a first feature before this called My Best Friend's Wedding.
Right.
It wasn't really theatrical. It was kind of just like a really underground indie kind of thing.
If it hasn't happened yet that Tarantino's had a cameo as a video store clerk, like stocking a shelf,
God.
and then like going around and being like, and like making recommendation, the kid's like, yeah, whatever.
You don't
Yeah.
want that.
If that hasn't happened, I just need that somewhere, somehow. Please, anytime, Hollywood, I'll leave it up to you.
I have like 4 scripts with you in mind, Tarantino. So let's go.
Sean, I'll leave it up to you.
He originally wanted to shoot the film with his buddies at the video store for $30,000 and in black and white 16mm film. But Lawrence Bender sent the script to his acting teacher, who sent the script to Harvey Keitel, who garnered much interest in the film and moved the budget up to $1.5 million.
Just because of Harvey. Harvey's
Oh,
like,
Harv.
hi.
He's got that Scorsese cred, you
Yeah.
know?
Of course.
He's got that Scors cred.
The Scorsese.
The film was shot in 5 weeks with relative ease, besides actor Lawrence Tierney being a bit difficult on set. He almost had a fight with Tarantino. Actually, I think it came to like pushing and shoving on set, and he was really difficult with all the crew. And when Tarantino kind of put him in his place, the crew clapped for Tarantino. 5 weeks in and around...
Shoot this piece of shit.
I changed my mind.
5 weeks in and around L.A., with the warehouse being an abandoned mortuary and most of the outside scenes, including the shootout scene with Mr. Pink, shot guerrilla style due to its low budget. So literally, they waited for a red light at that scene where Mr. Pink is shooting out with the cops. They waited for a red light and just kind of like, okay, let's go get it. And they just kinda
Can
hoped-
you imagine having pulled up at that intersection and watched? And clearly they're shooting. You see the cameras being like, what the fuck is that? And it turns out it was Reservoir Dogs.
It's just,
Oh my god!
I can't imagine. I mean, like even nowadays, we're just like gun firing. You can't go anywhere without it, apparently.
No kidding.
Reservoir Dogs had a disastrous first screening with the film being shot in scope, and the projector not having a scope lens. The film looked awful in addition to the power going out at the Mexican standoff climax.
Oh,
Literally, so the film was shot in scope, so it's kind of wide.
okay, yeah.
And so the projector did not have a scope lens, and so it was literally like
all cut in.
squished, and so everyone looked way taller.
It was double tap the screen.
Exactly.
And they went,
After a successful festival run, the film was picked up by Miramax and made $2.8 million in about 61 theaters, and has gone on to skyrocket Tarantino's career as one of our finest filmmakers.
trivia time. I got intrigued by this. I wanted this since Tarantino uses so many different actors, or some of the same actors in his movies. Do you know? I looked up who has been in his movies how many times. Do you know who's been in Tarantino movies the most?
Tarantino.
I want to say that's a good
God,
answer.
I was trying to stump Shaun. It's Tarantino.
Oh,
Is it really?
I didn't know.
Because that's kind of a trick question
I'm
because
sorry.
you don't think of it. Tarantino was in 8 movies.
Okay.
Because he's been in every movie, right? But who's next?
I want to say Tim Roth or Sam Jackson.
Harvey Keitel?
So Sam Jackson 5, Keitel 4, Roth and Madsen 3, and Buscemi 2.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy, huh? But
That is fun.
that's a trick question.
I'm sorry. I didn't. I literally didn't know. I promise. I did
I
not
thought
know
Shaun
that.
was gonna be like, "You stupid idiot!" I know.
Samuel Jackson.
That'd be so dumb. Well, actually.
Well, before we get in the next segment, we know that you guys all have at least one friend who loves this movie just as much as you do. Hit the little share icon on your podcast app. Directly message this episode to them. Sharing is caring, and it's one of the absolute best ways you can continue to support this podcast. Check out our website, confusedbreakfast.com. Grab some t-shirts, stickers, do all that shit.
Yeah.
And get caught up on our episodes on YouTube. We look totally different in person than you can imagine.
Turns out.
Support us on Patreon. Get access to more than like 80 hours of bonus audio now. Having conversations about fun stuff. Patreon.com/confusedbreakfast. Up next, we have AJ, who does the research and the ratings.
Very interested.
Critical
in
and fan ratings and reviews to share. AJ, what do you have?
Guys, we got to go just as red as a lot of this movie is. We are starting with the tomato meter.
Gross.
Not at all.
Not gross?
This ain't gross. I mean, it's pretty bloody, but certified fresh at 90%.
90%.
That is
90%.
That is the 11th highest Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter rating that we have of any movie we've done. It's
Wow.
slightly above Breakfast Club, slightly below Stand By Me.
That's
Wow.
right.
That's a triple feature right there, baby.
Audiences love it too. 94%
Right.
on that rating. And IMDb is an 8.3.
That's our number 4 of any movie
Wow.
we've done. Right below The Shining, right above Jurassic Park.
That's
Below The Shining and above
The
Jurassic
Shining
Park?
is 8.4. Reservoir Dogs is 8.3. Jurassic Park's
Wow.
8.1.
Jeez.
Good company.
Yeah, that's good company right there.
Well, there is a lot of high ratings from critics on this movie. I'm gonna give you the top couple that are nice and short and sweet. Let's see. You've got Ty Burr, Entertainment Weekly. You may not like the terms Tarantino sets, but you have to admit he succeeds on them. Another 100. Mick LaSalle, San Francisco Chronicle. A brutal movie, brutal in all the right ways. Brutally stark, brutally funny, brutally brutal. I just like that.
That's cool. Sounds like a band name.
Brutally brutal.
Those are a couple of hundreds. Here's some 63s from our boys, both Rajiv and Siski.
Let's go.
Yeah. Chicago Tribune and the Sun Times both gave him 63. Gene Siskel said, Tarantino's debut directing job acknowledges the sloppiness and silences that are typically squeezed out of most crime films. But we get to the point early on, and the remainder is macho posturing. I guess.
That's Siski?
That's Siski's.
Yeah, well, now see, like we
G-Sisk.
like Rajiv.
Rajiv.
It's fun to like see like critics do a major filmmaker's first movie
because they don't know
and not know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Oh, take it back.
Yeah.
Love me, please.
Redo, do over. 63. Raji gave it. So he said, the part that needs work didn't cost money. It's the screenplay. Having created the characters and fashioned the outline, Tarantino doesn't do much with his characters except to let them talk too much, especially when they should be unconscious from shock and loss of blood. Fair enough.
I didn't believe it.
Well, it's not believable. He's lost too much blood. I'm a doctor. Okay?
Dr. Raj.
I'm a doctor. So, movies. Well,
Doctor of movies.
Doctor of movies. 1 out of 10. This is Overrated by Pervs Grundy. I really wanted to say that.
That is a great name.
I really wanted to say that straight face. I couldn't. Oh, man.
Pervs Grundy.
Damn it.
We need more of his reviews.
Yeah.
We got Rajiv and Pervs.
Can you click on that username and see other movies that they reviewed?
I don't know, but I'll
Check that
I'll
out
try
next time. Because if you find somebody that we really hate, you need to read more of their
need to keep
reviews.
going
Yeah,
with
you need to keep going.
Because you know they did more.
I would like to hear a weekly segment from Pervs Grundy.
We'll continue to do this guy's reviews until that person actually reaches out to us and goes, "That's me."
We have our executives, and we just have Pervs Grundy as well.
Pervs Grundy didn't pay shit to do it.
Oh shit!
Fucking losing it.
We're good.
He said, 1 out of 10. Overrated was the title. I first saw this film when I was 15. I thought it was brilliant, really original, and generally great. However, now he's older. 3 years later, I realize it is nothing more than a pretentious piece of garbage. Sure, it looks good, but when you really get down to it, it's not. It's not doing anything. That's what he says. It doesn't have any real substance. It's not commenting on anything. It's just a totally throwaway product. Tarantino is talking loudly and saying nothing, and that narrative structure. It looks and feels original. But independent and foreign movies have been doing it better for years and years. A truly trashy piece of postmodernism at its worst.
It's okay.
Speaking of pretentious piece of garbage, he ended that with that line.
I'm 18.
I'm 18 and I know what the world is now. 3 years ago, I was stupid. Now I'm smart.
I also think every Christopher Nolan movie is trash.
except for The Dark Knight.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Can't wait to see what Michael Bay does, though.
Yeah. Michael Bay's Batman. I want that.
Jerry Bruckheimer already did it.
Yeah.
Or Jerry Schumacher. So.
This is a 1 out of 10. This is a bad film. Okay. I don't know I can't even read their username. I watch a lot of Quentin Tarantino films, even some of them more than once. And I loved all of them. But this film was real terrible and makes me disappointed. If you read this, don't watch this film.
Yeah.
Django, Hateful Eight, Kill Bill, those are the films I recommend to watch. Okay.
Again, I've done this before. I was like, I'm gonna watch Reservoir Dogs for the first time. Right as I'm about to hit to play, I go, wait, hold on. Let me go read some reviews.
I better
make sure. Oh, this guy warned me I shouldn't watch it. I'm not gonna hit play.
Thank God.
Thank God. Thank God for Purvis.
Okay.
Grundy.
Purvis Grundy.
You click out of Reservoir Dogs and you go, okay, Citizen Kane it is.
Citizen Kane, you got it.
How about a 10 out of 10? Let's go positive
There
here,
you
guys.
go.
Finish this out strong.
Joel Schumacher, not Jerry. Sorry.
Jerry.
Jerry Bruckheimer.
Joel Bruckheimer. God. A stage play adapted for screen. So I thought. Said Dan Sandiford. Probably the cleanest, leanest writing I've ever heard. Being relatively low on action but highly descriptive, a play was my natural inclination. Informed and intelligent dialogue became Tarantino's trademark.
Oh.
Okay, great.
Sure
I don't think it was adapted from a play.
No, it wasn't.
Friendo, but
People have
I
said
get what you're
saying. It could be a play.
Yeah. And I think maybe we'll say this later, but I'll say it right now. Definitely feels like the same vein as like Glengarry Glen Ross kind of vibes, that kind of a point. So yeah. Anyways, there it is, guys.
Cool, man.
Cool.
Well, before we get started on the scene-by-scene breakdown of Reservoir Dogs, I want to give a quick shout-out to our sponsor, Cedar Ridge Distillery. We know they're amazing and likely the best whiskey distiller in the world, and so do you, especially if you bought a bottle because you listen to us. But I want to tell you about this article we saw on GoBourbon.com. They pointed out that Cedar Ridge is the only craft distillery in America to be a state's #1 overall best-selling whiskey. Here's their quote. In 49 states, a major distillery produces the #1 best-selling bourbon in the state. In many cases, this is Jim Beam, Maker's Mark, or Jack Daniels. 49 states, right?
Wow.
But that is not the case in Iowa, where Cedar Ridge has been the #1 for 2 straight years, outselling the nearest major distillery competitor by some 35%.
Damn.
It is insane. I do believe that Iowans are more loyal than other states out there. I believe that Iowans are nicer than other states out there.
Could be.
So I do think that is a factor, but I also do truly believe that a bottle of Cedar Ridge blows out every other competitor out of the water. And we're lucky that they support us. They are supporting this podcast because we are local and they're local, but we truly do believe like these accolades are speaking themselves. We're not just trying to sell you like fucking piss water and shit like that. You know, like this is legit, and the stats are mind-blowing, and they are growing at an insane rate. So
it's crazy.
You heard it here first. Cedar Ridge whiskey is insane, one of the best in the world. First Iowa next to your state. You got to check them out. Stop by a liquor store. Pick some up. If you don't have any in your state, you can order a bottle directly online at cedarridgewhiskey.com. Stop by their website. Add them on social media. Check them out in person in Swisher, Iowa. Tell them you confused breakfast is your favorite, and we told them about it. Whatever. Who cares? Just grab a bottle and drink responsibly. That's all we care about. Just go do it.
Just go do it.
Quit being an idiot and just go do it.
CedarRidgeWhiskey.com.
Can I have some?
Cedar
No one actually gave me any.
Actually,
Just a little. I had a lot last night.
We got a bottle of Single Barrel right
I'll tell
there,
you,
baby.
On the Patreon episode, I'll tell you a story about what happened on that. Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. Just a little. Oh, good. Yeah, great. Well, boys, first things fucking last. What do you say we bring our criminal skills to the table and join a ragtag team of misfits to pull off a diamond heist? We don't know each other's names, but we've got each other's colors. Everything should work out just fine, right?
Should.
I need you cool. Are you cool?
I'm cool.
Here we go. The film opens with 8 men eating breakfast at a diner. Mr. Blonde, Mr. Blue, Mr. Brown, Mr. Orange, Mr. Pink, Mr. White, Joe, and his son, Nice Guy Eddie. After some discussion, they leave the diner. Flash forward to Mr. White driving a car and trying to comfort Mr. Orange, laying in the back seat, who has been shot. They arrive at an abandoned warehouse, the robbers' rendezvous point. Orange begs White to take him to an emergency room. Mr. Pink arrives, and they discuss what happened to Pink during the heist.
Okay.
So
Go ahead, AJ.
I was going to say, opening scene here. It's not like opening credits necessarily with the way it kicks in, but
Let me tell you what Like a Virgin's about.
Yeah. This conversation, and this is kind of classic Tarantino conversation that he loves to just inject.
This is
into
something
people.
he thought about the other day, and he's like, oh, that'd be really funny if we had just put in that conversation in a movie.
And it's a classic, like, kind of Tarantino monologue. Like, you'll see him do this in some other things as well. Not even his own movies sometimes, but I think I had read that he originally wanted to be Mr. Pink, right? Yeah. He wanted to be who Steve Buscemi is in this movie. And then I think that this scene even was just like a last-minute ad or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think this scene was a last-minute ad, but like he told Steve Buscemi was like, "This is the Mr. Pink is who I want to play. Like I don't want to be in this movie if I can't be Mr. Pink." And so Tarantino was like, "Well, I'm gonna be Mr. Pink, so if you don't blow me away by your audition, then it's not gonna happen." And obviously, we have what we have.
Buscemi. Yeah. I'm glad that he didn't make the choice, because if, let's say, Tarantino would have been Mr. Pink,
it'd been a lot.
It would have been too much. I like Tarantino's small roles in his film.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am perfectly fine with that, but I don't want him to be a main character in
right.
the movie. And Pink would have been a lot of screen time.
Yeah.
And that might have altered the future of his roles in movies potentially,
No
right?
kidding.
I think so.
You think? Because
Yeah.
I love Tarantino in small doses on the screen.
He's obviously a great writer and director, but like he's an okay actor.
Right.
But like but okay actors are good in small bits, you know. Like him in Pulp Fiction is a great part.
Perfect.
You know, him and Django Unchained is okay
Yeah.
as the Australian slave owner is like okay, but he gets blown up, and so it's like that's fun.
Okay,
but,
cool.
You know.
I looked at the script. If you look at the script of this movie, like I wanted to go through because there were some parts I wanted to try to understand what they were saying, like even in the background. We'll get there, but I wanted to kind of read through some of this opening like conversation because there's 3 conversations basically going on.
Yeah.
And so
Toby Wong, Toby
Wong, Toby Chang,
fucking Charlie
fucking
Chan.
Charlie Chan. I got Madonna's big dick coming to my left ear.
That's a lot of dicks.
That's a lot of. How many dicks is that?
A lot.
So, but if you read through now, maybe this is a fuck up. I don't know. But in the script that I read, that I found online, the speaking parts of everything were actually different. They were to different people. Mr. Pink is actually the one telling the Madonna story, not Mr. Brown. And then Mr. White was actually the one who doesn't tip. You know,
Weird.
so there was actually they moved conversation around. It seems like to fit maybe the circle better, the camera that's circling, maybe to keep the flow going of the conversation between people.
Maybe even the
separate some
personalities of
things
the
out.
actors as well.
Yeah, maybe that shined through. But I thought that was really interesting. I was like, it's like they adjusted on the fly.
Yeah.
They must have.
You're an absolute insane person, and you're not in tune with your true self, and you're a liar if you don't tell me that at some point you heard Steve Buscemi, Mr. Pink's tipping thing, and you were like, 100%.
Yep.
I agree. Tell them to get another fucking job if they don't.
I first watched this movie. I'm like, when I grow up, I'm never gonna be a tip man. I'm never gonna tip anybody in my entire life. And then I was 19 and 20,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
my girlfriend right now has her side job. She's a server, and it's like she makes like $3 an hour, lives on tips.
It is a mess. We have the worst. The American system
It's ridiculous.
is so stupid and messed up.
It's ridiculous.
You go to Europe. I left a quarter on a bar, the equivalent of a quarter, like a dime piece in England. I left it on a bar when I ordered beer, and they chased me down and gave it back to me. Not as like here's your tip, like in waiting. They're like, no, bro.
Sorry.
You need to keep this. You do not tip pretty much everywhere in the world except for America, but yet some jobs deem this tip worthy and some don't.
They're like, if you feel like you had insane service and food, you could leave €1 on the table or something.
Yes.
That's what they say, and
And then they even talk about it. It was 12%.
12%
was what it was back then, and now it's like if you don't tip 30%, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
that's not the fault of the. I do believe that every human in this world should have to work like for 6 months in the service industry. Because I used to be a Buscemi. I was like, I'm not going to tip anybody. And then I worked in the service industry. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to over tip for the rest of my life. And I love Buscemi. It's so funny watching him. There's a lot of things we're going to point out about Buscemi. His like mannerisms in this, where you see it in this scene. They go, okay, everybody cough up $1 for a tip. And Buscemi, he preps himself because he knows what this conversation's going to be. And he's sort of like, okay, cool. I'm ready to roll. Whenever somebody asks me why I didn't tip, I'm ready to go.
Come on, throw in a buck.
Throw in a buck.
Throwing a buck. Hey, this girl was nice, you know? Yeah, she was okay.
She was okay.
How many cups of coffee do you guys need when you go and eat lunch? You eat
Two
max?
Two max.
I was going to say 2 to 3, and he's like, I at least want coffee refilled 6 times. 6 times?
Jesus Christ. Maybe you
I'll-
don't need that much,
No.
Mr. Pink.
She's doing you a favor. She is doing you a service by not doing that for you.
Tip her for your life.
Yeah.
Shaun, what role does Mr. Blue have in this entire movie?
Mr. Blue is just he's in Eddie Bunker is an actual criminal.
100%.
In real life, he committed a lot of robberies in his life, and I think the movie starring Dustin Hoffman, A Straight Time, is based off of his life, and he's in that movie as well. One of my favorite 70s movies of all times, but I think he's just kind of in there to fill the group out. I mean, he's not obviously like a reoccurring character, and
This
how
is
he
his
dies.
only line, right?
He dies pretty early, and he's there when they're doing like the color handouts and everything like that. But I think he's because he became a consultant.
Oh, really?
For like crime movies too.
Weird.
Okay.
And so I think he might have been there for that as well, but he's also got a good face for film.
He does.
So,
He does.
It's a weird-looking group of people at that table.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. You're like, who's that guy? Who's this guy? What
Yeah.
the fuck's going on here?
And I think that was another point to adding this whole first even scene was to give Blue lines, was to give Eddie Bunker lines.
I see.
And so like that was another point because if everywhere else he doesn't have a line in this.
No.
Right.
And we don't even see him die.
No, we don't see anything about it.
He didn't serve a purpose.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I kind of subscribe to Tarantino's argument of like a virgin. Like it's a very good argument. But did you guys hear what Madonna?
Didn't Madonna? She liked the movie, right?
Madonna really liked the movie, but she sent Tarantino her album. I forget what album it was. Is like the
Like a Virgin album.
I don't know which one it was, but she sent him an album of hers, signed it, and said it's actually about love.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Did
I
she say
love that.
It's not about dick. It's about love or something like that.
I love that. I hope he still has that.
There was also some subtle foreshadowing. I don't know if it was on purpose or not in this scene of the identity of the rat. Is when Joe demands to know which crook didn't contribute to the tip. Mr. Orange points out Mr. Pink right away. Mr. Orange snitches on Pink right away.
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
A bit of a little subtle foreshadowing,
nod.
maybe.
Interesting.
Maybe you never think about it,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't tip. Shut up. He doesn't believe in it. Shut up.
Little Green Bag by George Baker Selection.
Yes.
This might be the most, I mean, it's a poster right there. This might be the most iconic, like, slow-mo walkout. Like, I know Swingers took like, blatant.
Everyone that has ever filmed anything from a movie to a wedding promo, we're making a video of our wedding day, has fucking done this.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, yeah, that's the bachelor party right there. It's
Yeah.
Okay, so just walk at me in slow motion like you don't know the camera's there.
Yeah.
Or, sorry, don't walk normally.
Put on your sunglasses while you do it. Yeah.
It's like it's ingrained in me, and like ever since I saw this movie, like I would be in high school in like algebra class, like not paying attention at all and writing like my own scripts, but they would all start out with a scene of criminals at a coffee shop and then walking out to like a cool song. You know, it completely engrossed me as a kid and has just been in my blood ever since. And I can't, like, I called the script Red Coffee, probably just like, oh yeah, blood, and they do breakfast.
What's your slow motion walkout song?
Oh,
didn't you guys do this on I'm Super Stoked?
I mean, there's plenty.
I did.
You have to pick one right now.
Oh.
If you're walking out of a place and there's a camera on you and you want to be in slow motion, what is it? You're wearing a suit. You look real nice.
Mezzanine by
Massive Attack.
yes.
I had a slow motion song like in my head. Now I can't think of it.
Mine is
What's
Fire
yours?
Breather by Thrice.
By Thrice. I think mine is Everybody's Talking by Harry Nilsson.
Nice.
Look at you.
Yeah.
That'll come up later.
I think it is.
Look at you, man.
Jeremy.
Something Queens of the Stone Age.
Okay.
It's gotta be. That would be a good one. Yeah, probably Smooth Sailing, Queens of the Stone
Smooth
Age.
sailing.
Smooth.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Shaun, I have a slight problem though with this how I mean this is so iconic and this is all I think about when I think about this movie, but like does it suck that it's so like glitchy slow motion, or do you like that? Like if this was modern era, it would be so smooth, it would be so slow motion, but you know it's just so glitchy and because it's just
I think that he could have used a different form of slow-mo
Right.
in this scene, but well, maybe not, because like if you usually like film at like 35
Right.
or per minute or something like that, or like 3.5, then it's like when you slow it down, it does get glitchy like that. But if you're at 60 frames per second, it's like really smooth.
yes.
And so that could have been the case, but it's also a choice because like a lot of like Martin Scorsese even will do like the kind of glitchy slow-mo for like an effect.
Right.
But I agree. I think it could have just been way cooler.
Like you almost
if it
want
was-
it. You almost want like a remaster of this
Yeah.
movie where they can make that just be like
Yeah.
smooth slow motion, move it.
During like that slow motion, like it was a different song he wanted, wasn't it? There's like the song choices that ended up in the movie, like at the iconic scenes, were originally like different. different
yeah.
choices initially. I think this one was Money by
yes.
Pink Floyd.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
right.
They wanted Money. Boom.
Would've
And it would have
Another
worked.
epic bass line.
Yeah. And so but it wouldn't have had the same effect.
No.
You know what I mean? It would have been a very different vibe.
And I wouldn't have found out about this amazing song if it wasn't.
It's
for
very
this
true.
movie. Like Money.
It's
and,
his duty to tell you about this great song.
and just
Yeah.
like the title of that song, he would have had to pay $1.5 million for that song, probably,
Oh,
which is
God,
the
yeah.
entire budget of this movie.
He would have had to pay money for it.
Exactly. I mean, this is like everything to me. Like, what do you guys think about Stephen Wright?
It's pretty awesome.
Stephen-
His delivery is so
It
fucking
is so
great.
good. If you like go on like the special features of the DVD, I think they have like outtakes and recordings of like Tarantino directing Stephen Wright. And it's like, oh, man, I'm just trying like this. You just try like Tarantino does. He's
Yeah.
so animated. But Stephen Wright's just like, okay, I'll try like that.
Super sounds in the 70s.
He had some like pronunciations of some words that I wish I could remember like off the cuff that he's just like Steelers wheel. You just it's like
Joe Egan
Wheel.
and Jerry Rafferty were
Jerry
a duo
Rafferty.
known as Steelers Wheel.
Welcome back to Billy's Sounds of the 70s. It's just like he would
I
roll
would
through like molasses.
That's who I want my radio announcer to sound.
Yeah.
Not like, well, do you want to 2.9 coming down here for the
Yes.
coming out and get your Playboy 10 stickers? Yeah.
Thanks for checking in. Back with the best wax on back to
Sean Mendes coming up next. Like, no, I want Gay Billy Superstars of the 70s.
Settle in for another 30-minute free ride of nonstop Kesha. Gross.
And here's Kesha with
TikTok on the clock.
TikTok on the clock. Keep it tuned to K Billy's.
Shaun, I have questions. Pretty much all my notes are questions for you about this movie. My biggest issue with this movie, and I think it still is today, and I'm ready to be talked out of this, is Tim Roth's acting in the backseat of the car. Many people are like, oh my God, this is great. He's so good. But for some reason, it doesn't do it for me, and it still doesn't. Like, he's got that. I'm okay, Larry. Like, it feels weird to me. It always has. I remember seeing this for the first time, just being like, I don't believe this.
Yeah.
Like, it feels overacting to me. And even on Critical Rewatch, I love what he's doing because he's incredible. That would be so hard to do that. How do you act like you're in agonizing pain? But I just don't like it. I still feel like it's like the worst performance of the movie in that particular scene. I love him in the majority of it, but that backseat scene for some reason just doesn't do it for me.
I know what you mean. Maybe because for me, I confuse it with like a performance issue with just how annoying it kind of is. But like a person being in that kind of pain would be that way, you know? Like,
Oh, God,
and
yeah.
I don't know how I would react if I was shot in the gut, and if I would be crying like a baby or like wanting someone to hold me or something like that. It's a weird thing for me. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing for me to be like, is it bad acting or is it just like the way it makes me feel is just off?
True.
You know?
And it feels like it's like his acting versus Harvey Keitel's like acting in that scene. It just feels juxtaposed.
Say the goddamn word.
Say the goddamn
You're gonna
word.
be okay.
You're gonna be okay.
His
I
cadence-
love his though.
His cadence is unreal.
It's
Harvey
so good.
Keitel's.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you had a medical degree. Are you a doctor? Are you a doctor? Answer me. Are you a fucking doctor? You're just going up. Say the goddamn word.
And maybe that's the juxtaposition for
Yeah.
me. Is like he's just fucking killing it.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
Harvey
yeah.
Keitel is, and you're like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't realize until this rewatch that and I had never before this rewatch watched this movie with subtitles ever in my life.
Okay.
I had never realized until I didn't even see it because it does show it. But when they're walking into the warehouse, their safe house, he says she had a baby man. And in that scene, you can see a car seat of him in the
Yeah,
back seat.
that's
Oh,
right.
No.
I never realized that the person he eventually shoots had a baby, and I'm
Right.
like, oh fuck.
But was there a baby in the car?
There wasn't.
Okay.
There was. I don't think she was in the car at all. But still,
That's tough.
I just thought like of the 100 times I've seen this movie, I thought he was just mumbling something and then I couldn't hear it. But he said she had a baby, man.
Wow.
I'll say this really quick. It's the kicking for me in Tim Roth's.
Too much movement.
A lot of movement because I've never been shot in the gut, but I have had my appendix out. Okay,
it's hard to move,
and it's really hard to move your legs around like that when you've got like these like you've been cut into on your stomach and those abdomen muscles have been hit. Like it's really tough to do that, and that's what threw it off for me on this last rewatch. I was
too
like,
much movement.
yeah, it's like
Maybe
that's a lot of
what it
movement,
is.
you know. So I don't know. Just
Like,
I was
come
gonna
on,
throw that out
come
there.
on, Tim Roth, act like you've been there.
Yeah,
before.
come on. What you didn't research? No.
I like how Pink walks in and he's just like, oh shit, Orange got tagged. Like he's
got
just a
tagged.
criminal talk.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't really give a shit about Orange. He's like, oh, he got tagged.
He's like, God
He
damn
got
it.
tagged. Yeah, Shaun, there was a moment too that I had never noticed before. When they get to the safe house, White lays him down and puts the gun in his hand.
Yeah.
I had never, and that's such a subtle moment, but I was thinking, like, what if he didn't do that? If he didn't put the gun in his hand, then Orange is not shooting Blonde, which probably means cops getting burned alive, which probably means that cops are then invading the warehouse immediately.
I don't know.
Maybe, or like, I don't know, right?
It's a point of contention that I will have probably later on
Yeah.
as we get more like into the story that like this should have been stopped long ago.
Oh my
Long
God.
time ago.
As cops were being killed actively,
We're going to stop this.
yeah. That's my only like gripe with the story, I guess.
They make it a point, and when Pink shows up and he says, you know, did you kill anybody? And he's like, a couple of cops. He's like, any real people?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Like, whoa.
like it kind of like demeans or like really puts down like the police or whatever. But they also kind of portray them that way too, like in the chase with Pink that comes when he's describing when Pink gets away. Like the way that they're chasing and they're very, very rough. Like it's not like cops in sync and like, you know, you think of like cops, they're very strategic. They do, you know, these cops are not like that. They're chasing him down the street. You know what I mean? They're yelling at people, get the fuck out of the way.
It's like they weren't really told what's going on. They were just like, go to this position and try and stop whoever has a gun.
Yeah, exactly. So they make these cops seem also very rough around the edges too in this movie, which is very strange.
Yeah.
So now that we've educated our podcast audience on the Wilhelm scream, did you hear it? Did you hear it when it happened?
Exactly.
I would have never, had I not, on the Spaceballs episode, had I not researched that, I would have heard it, but I wouldn't have known what it was. When Pink's running on the street, he pushes a guy out of the way, he goes, ah! It's unbelievable. It's so, I will never not hear that in movies now.
As we say in Happy Gilmore, we want that replaced in some ways with that kid getting hit by the baseball.
both of them.
Yeah.
The Mr. Lady and the kid.
That scene, the Mr. Pink escape scene is like, we've been talking for a while now. Like Mr. Pink and Mr. White have been like, first of all, why do you're not cool lighting a Zippo like that.
I know.
No, it's the only way.
Zippo
What's
tricks,
going on,
man?
man?
It's the only way
And
you can light
it doesn't
a Zippo.
work for him the second time. He's like,
God damn. And then he just goes,
yeah, he's
and
Yeah.
it starts.
I know.
yeah, you look cool. We are in a situation here. I don't need this.
Speaking of which, the first time he doesn't even light his own cigarette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
He lights Mr. Pinkston. He's like, oh, I think I have a thought.
maybe he just like holds off on his on purpose. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then what's with the Zippo tricks? All right,
I
we're
don't
gonna
know.
take this back to Hocus Pocus. Are we really gonna go back all the
Episode
way?
number one.
Episode number 1, just fucking Zippo tricks.
But for the record, he was way better in Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, he was.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
let's light this mother.
Yep, he was good, man. It was like a switchblade on that kid. Yeah, no, I
lot of
didn't
pussy.
understand that. But
Shh, keep going.
I didn't. I really
Just keep going.
didn't understand that as far as like why he was doing the Zippo
Yeah.
tricks. I didn't get it.
I don't even know how that's done. Like, you're just.
You just snap it. Oh, you've never done that?
No.
Shit. Give me
See?
your Zippo right
Come on,
now.
bro.
I'll show it to you.
I
You don't have a Zippo?
got a
left it.
jewel, man.
Oh, yeah. Nobody does that anymore.
No, it's illegal now. So this Mr. Pink chase scene blew me away when I first watched, because, like I said, we've been talking this entire time with Mr. Pink and Mr. White, and then now we come back. How did you get out? Well, I shot my way out. And then we cut to Mr. Pink running down the street. That shootout is maybe the most like jarring realistic shootout that I've ever seen in my life, because especially Tarantino's further movies, they are very stylized. Like if he does a shootout, they're very like cut to this scene, like they're very, directed. This is just kind of in 1 or 2 shots of it zooming into Mr. Pink as he's shooting these cops on the corner, and then a POV shot of the cops being shot at. It is very like creepy almost, and just
There's no sound.
Yeah, there's no
like music.
There's no
like,
soundtrack. It's just like pure gunfire, like in Heat by Michael Mann. It's terrifying almost, but it's still like really cool.
Yeah,
cinema wise. Anyway.
Yeah.
No, agreed. Well, let's move on. So, scene number 2, flashback to Mr. White meeting with Joe and agreeing to take this job. Flash forward to White and Pink arguing about what to do with Orange. Mr. Blonde shows up and gets in an altercation with White. Then Blonde shows the two that he has a cop in his trunk. I want to make this known. So, I wrote these notes saying flashback and did all this, but then I had a second and I did a little more research before we got here today. And Tarantino is very against the use of like me calling these flashbacks. Flashback
He
is
told you personally?
He did, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I call him. We're good friends.
Yeah.
Q.
There,
What's up,
there
bro?
was, there was an interview or something that I saw.
QT.
A flashback would be like the camera coming on me and then me like thinking of something and then it flashes back. Where these are not flashbacks. This is essentially Tarantino saying that now you need this information. And it just so happens to be a different point in time. So, like, I just want to point that out, that I'm saying flashback and flash forward, but, like,
it's just a reference.
That's not what he wants you. That's not what these movies are about. It's easy to go, oh, it just jumps around. It's like, no, this is just when you need to know the information.
He is trusting the audience.
Yes.
And that is an auteur filmmaker at its finest, and to be honest, because it's just like, we need a bubble again above someone's head like in a fucking comic, and then we'll go to another panel. It's just like, no.
And it doesn't even say, like, 4 days earlier.
Exactly.
It's just this is the information you need now.
Yeah, this is how we got here.
They're talking about the
nutshell.
robbery and pretense. Hopefully you get it, you know. I do like the way in this interview of Mr. White and fucking Christ. Joe, sorry. And when they're talking, he mentions Alabama. He's like, aren't you working with Bama anymore? He's like, nah, me and Bama split way back when. That's in reference to, in the Tarantino verse, his script before this, True Romance, where Patricia Arquette portrayed Alabama.
Oh, no way.
And that's what the lore is that he was working with Alabama from True Romance and into this movie. So
there's a lot of references kind of all throughout this movie.
Yeah.
Like somebody mentions Marcellus from Pulp Fiction.
Somebody says that?
Somebody says mentions Marcellus when they're talking about who can move ice. And he's not talking about Marcellus as the one that can. He says like, well, with Marcellus and all that stuff. I mean, Mr. Blonde, his name is Vic Vega. And in Pulp Fiction, John Travolta was Vince Vega.
Yeah.
Which apparently that was supposed to be a spin-off altogether.
It was going to be a movie right after Pulp Fiction, and it was just he had the script for Kill Bill ready to go right after that because he worked with Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
And he was doing that and also adapting the Elmer Bernstein, the Elmore Leonard novel for Jackie Brown at the time. And he was like, I'm going to do that. Once all those projects kind of kept going, it was like they kept getting older. It was not going to be believable for them to be.
But I also heard that Vic Vega, Michael Madsen, was supposed to then be in Pulp Fiction as Vincent Vega. Vic Vega was going to be the person, but then Madsen couldn't do it. So then he's like, well, then we'll just make it Vincent Vega. It'll be a brother. And then that's when they go, we can do a spinoff.
They're
of the
pretty
brothers.
similar.
Yeah. They are very similar.
Vincent Vega just wears a bolo tie.
Yeah,
and
no big deal. Same thing.
I don't know if he's as sadistic necessarily. But
very true. Very true.
But
he's the younger
still,
brother.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah,
Makes
younger
sense.
brother. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
What do you guys think of Lawrence Tierney in this movie?
He is.
If we were on a train to go punch a face, I'm on board.
That's what I'm talking about.
He's my most punchable face.
Is he really?
I like all the characters in this movie.
Yeah.
Like they're all good-looking people that I don't really want to get in a fight with. But he's the guy that I'm just like, fucking whatever.
I think I'm with you, man. I didn't even really think about it. I like watching this movie. I'm just like, it's cinema. I don't care about my show at all.
Cinema.
I will not be doing a most punchable face or a prop.
No, I think you're right. And we'll get to it, but like when Tim Roth describes him, this motherfucker looks exactly like the Thing. He does.
Michael Chiklis.
Yeah.
I am going to take this to a place for most punchable face. It is the cop telling the story inside the story. Inside.
Okay,
you're right.
And I said, buddy, I'm going to shoot you in the fucking face.
Please tell me
He's
that
a douchebag.
that those cops did not directly influence Broken Lizard for Super Troopers.
Dude. Oh my
Please tell
God,
me.
yes.
Like, please, like that is fucking Super Troopers cops right there. And I said, buddy.
This is fucking like Wish Greg Kinnear with a mustache. Like, I'm telling you. And like the problem, the part that makes it so for me is when he walks in and Tim Roth is doing a phenomenal monologue, telling the story while in the story. I love this idea that he's standing in this setting, but he's telling the story as if he's telling it to the other guys, and it's such a cool thing that's happening. And then it kind of snaps back, and he like goes to bed, and then you hear that cop. He's just like, but anyways, I told the guy, I told him, put his hands on the dash. Put your hands on the fucking dash. He's, buddy.
You can tell he's making it up as he goes up.
Yes.
I said,
know.
buddy,
Yeah.
put your hands on.
And that's what I thought was the beauty of it, is somebody is telling an anecdote inside the anecdote that he's supposed to be telling.
Yes.
And I thought that was very creative. It's very clever. And this guy is also making it up inside the story.
But not doing a good job.
Yeah.
Not
doing a
doing
terrible
the
job.
good job like
Yeah.
Orange has learned to do.
Correct.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I thought that was brilliant.
I'm with you. It's that guy.
Okay, fine.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Whatever, man. I'm not punching a cop.
I'm not punching
We got cop listeners. I ain't
know
punching you, okay?
Hey, I think even those guys would agree.
They would be like, fuck that guy. I know him. I don't like him. So Blonde shows up.
Yeah.
One of the greatest things I've ever seen is when Blonde and White start, like, it's escalating. And Blonde delivers that classic line, you gonna bark all day, doggy, or are you gonna bite? And you see Pink go, fuck.
Yeah.
Like Pink goes, God damn it, why did he just say that? Because now we got an alteration. Again, that is the subtle body language of Steve Buscemi in this whole thing, where it's just like unbelievable how he does
You're
that.
a big Lee Marvin fan, aren't you?
Is Tarantino? I feel like Tarantino is just this big fan of tropey dialogue and putting it into his movies and making it work. Like that line right there. Are you gonna bark all day, little dog? Or are you gonna bite?
Yeah.
You can't put that in any other movie.
It's like, and then Harvey Keitel even responds, "What'd you say? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that." You know, that kind of a thing. That's tropey dialogue.
Says
Bark
it
all day,
again.
little
Yeah.
doggy throws his drink.
Or are you gonna bite? You know, that kind of stuff it's tropey dialogue to me. But like, for some reason, I take it very seriously in a Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You can't put that in any other movie
Yeah.
and be like, oh, wow, this is just dialogue. Oh,
And no
wow.
one can deliver it that way, in that manner, like Michael Madsen's going to, and take it seriously.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Go ahead, man.
No, more Michael Madsen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Is Michael Madsen one of the most intimidating actors? Like he is so cool, but not cool at the same time in this movie. Like, I don't understand how I feel about this guy and this character.
Yeah,
He's so fucking awesome.
He is like a James Dean. He reminds me of the character from The Sadist. Is a movie back in like the 50s. People might know what I'm talking about. I forget the actor's name, but he's like a James Dean sort of like or like a crooner, like Mr.
Sinatra
Blue
or-
Eyes.
Good looking man.
But
like
he's
in
a
his prime.
psychopath, and it's
Yes.
such a cool juxtaposition. He's like, God damn, he's so fucking good looking, but he's a psycho, you know?
Yes.
And it's so fun to watch a character like that just be like, he's drinking a Coke while all this is like everyone's fucking freaking out except this guy. What's
He
going
is.
on?
He's like Dean Martin in a
Yeah.
hard gangster or something like that, in this vibe of this kind of quiet vibe, and I don't know. I love it when he comes back from the prison, or like he goes and meets with Joe.
Haven't gotten there yet.
We haven't gotten
you
there
can
yet.
talk about it
so
if you want to.
I was just saying, like, I do love that part, how we get introduced to him again.
I'm gonna say, let's go ahead.
And what a fucking shot of Pink and White arguing about they should leave, which, by the way, they 100% should leave. Like,
They
what,
should.
What is keeping you here? Who
Yeah.
cares? And that camera pans back, and it pans back, and it pans back, and then there's Blonde.
Just
The
walks
reveal.
back.
Unbelievable. What a shot. Because, like, that's creepy. He's been standing there the whole time.
Yeah, how
listening.
long?
You guys shouldn't play
And
so
just
rough.
kinda-
Someone's gonna get hurt.
Again, tropey dialogue.
Yes.
You know?
And it's amazing. Pink is such a fucking weasel too, because his story just changes. He had just been saying how Blonde's a psychopath, and he goes, "I'm pretty sure you're on the level."
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like, we were wondering what happened to you. He just
Yeah.
Pink's the weasel that just makes his way through the whole movie and ends up potentially getting away.
He's a diplomat.
Yes.
He's very
Yeah.
diplomatic. He's a professional.
Yep.
He doesn't
He
want to
is.
ruffle feathers. He wants to figure out the situation.
Yeah.
And he says that he's like, I didn't create this situation, but I'm dealing with
Yes.
it. And that's what he's trying to do the entire time.
Yes.
You know.
Is it revealed that he has the cop in his trunk in this scene?
In this scene, yeah.
So he reveals that he has
I got something to show you.
Kirk Baltz as the cop in this scene, and I just
Oh,
gotta
yeah.
imagine, like, he just was riding around with this guy. He's such a psychopath that he went and got fast food
Yeah.
while with this guy in his trunk. He just doesn't give that much of a fuck at all. And then he's like, "Oh yeah, I should probably go to the safe house," with his Coke in hand.
No, I already had those. The fries.
Yeah, and so it was actually true that he, like, him and Michael Madsen and Kirk Baltz, the actor, went around with Kirk Baltz in the trunk and went through
Yeah.
fast food drive-throughs just to see how it was and everything. I just gotta imagine, just like, if you pop out, I'm like, "Oh, thanks for my order." Thank you."
That's a Jackass skit from
Yeah,
back in the day.
exactly.
Oh my God, it is.
It is.
100%. It is. And yeah, he wanted the Kirk Baltz. He really wanted the. He's like, I want the character development.
Yeah.
I need to understand. I want to feel what this is
What did
like.
I just go through?
You know, yeah. And then Michael Madsen's just like, I'm going to take the advantage of this then too. And he just goes through a drive-through and he does all this, drives around through like bumpy roads and stuff with him. It's very
Laughing
funny.
like a psychopath.
Yeah.
Well, so let's move this along. So flashback to Mr. Blonde meeting with Joe and Eddie after he gets out of prison. Flash forward to the present where the men are beating up the policeman. Eddie arrives and tells Blonde to stay with the cop and Orange while the rest go move cars. Blonde begins to torture the cop until Orange shoots him. Orange reveals that he is an undercover cop.
Look, maybe Mr. Blonde mentions his parole officer Scagnetti.
Seymour Scagnetti.
Seymour Scagnetti.
Scagnetti was also a character in Natural Born Killers, played by Tom Sizemore, which
Ooh.
Tarantino also wrote.
Viper.
Yes, yes. Just adding to the further
That was Tom Skerritt.
Oh, sorry.
the MCU of Tarantino. Sorry, go ahead.
Cut that out,
The
please.
MCU of
The
Tarantino.
MCU. It kind of is, though, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
I love that. I
The-
love when people can just be like, no, this is all same. It's essentially what we do in this podcast, being like, no, because that guy then went to do this. Like, that's the same thing.
No, but Grandma's Boy's thing
but
was
they said-
he was
he
an
said he was
accountant
an
back then. It's like,
Hey, good news is we're not shadow banned anymore. Bad news, the fucking trolls are out again.
They've unleashed the trolls.
Yes, they have.
Well, actually.
no, it's like Red Apple cigarettes in every Tarantino movie. Pretty
Yeah,
much
same.
Throughout here on out. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was the same. The only time I was on Joe's side was when Blonde goes in and Blonde and Eddie are fighting. And, like, they fight, and then they're like, okay, cool, we're done fighting. And then they start fighting again. I was like, fucking get on with it. Like, Joe's like, stop it. What are you doing?
this is my fucking office. Looking like tusks behind me.
Yeah, I know.
I was the same goddamn way. I was like, quit fucking fighting. Like, this is so boring. Get on to it.
Yeah.
The second time they started fighting, just come on, man.
It's too much. But at the same time, it's kind of like, it kind of just needed to show that relationship. I don't know.
They're clearly tight.
Yeah.
And it's very important later on.
It's very important, and they're truly trying to do right by him. I think it's the idea they really needed to make it an understanding of, especially for later on, how tight they are, how much they really want to do right by Blonde.
Yeah.
You know, at
these
this point.
three are like very interconnected.
They really want to make sure that he is taken care of. They're giving him a job, but he doesn't have to even do that job. They want to make sure he is set and ready to go. Get the Scagnetti guy off your back, and really make good on him. But these two are the guys who everybody should be afraid of, but they're really doing, like, trying to do everything they can for Blonde at this point. So I thought that was a really important point to make, I guess. Yeah.
I what do you guys think of Chris Penn in this movie? I think I like really like him as Nice Guy Eddie.
I love it.
He's unreal.
Yeah.
Even from this scene moving forward to his best stuff at the end.
God.
He's fucking how did he not get along with Quentin? Why was he not in more Quentin Tarantino films?
I never heard
He
anything.
fucking killed it.
I never heard anything like that he didn't get along or anything like that. But I know, like, on the special features, there was like a retrospective interview with like all of the characters, like Mr. Blonde and Nice Guy Eddie. Nice Guy Eddie's was out of the back of a van, or Chris Penn's was out of the back of a van, like riding through. I think he kind of fell on hard times, maybe.
And he's since passed away, right?
He's dead now, which is such a shame.
Yeah.
But like I think this is probably his best performance in this movie, to be honest.
I think it's phenomenal, man. And I love, the idea is to, like, play this as he's not one of these guys. He's very different, even especially, like, near the end, his bright blue, windbreaker jacket and the gold chain. He's very flashy. And he's, he says daddy a lot.
Yeah, he's a daddy's boy.
He's a daddy's boy. And I don't know. I don't know who's dead. I don't know who's alive.
I don't know who's not.
I don't know who's not. Like, he's like that kind of a thing. I just think it's a phenomenal performance.
Yeah.
And the way he talks to Mr. Blonde in that scene in the office. And going through this whole ordeal. And then later on, we'll get to his eyes. So we'll get to his eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're back to quite possibly the most iconic scene of this movie is the stuck in the middle scene. Here's how absolutely genius. There's so many things we can talk about this torture scene, right? You know me when I get a thought in my head, I got to go all the way through. So stuck in the middle with Hughes playing, and he walks out to his car.
Mm-hmm.
And like that is so beautifully sound design of how it fades away,
Yes.
and then there's sound out here, and then he fades back in. I took me about 5 minutes to line up my phone stuck in the middle with you to the movie.
Yes.
So that my phone kept playing as he walked outside. As he comes back in, perfectly on time. Perfectly on time. Anyone else would have been like, no, let's cut that so that this part plays when he comes back in.
Yeah.
They perfectly fucking timed it.
The cowbell, yeah.
Unbelievable.
I mean, most of the budget went to this song, like specifically just this song.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how, like maybe half, maybe a quarter of it went to just this song is what I was reading.
Do you know it was originally supposed to be Master of Puppets?
Yeah.
You didn't know that?
No, it wasn't.
It was going to be running up that hill.
Yeah.
Shut up.
It was going to be Running on Empty by Jackson Browne.
Yeah. Cool.
No, it was actually another original thought for this was Ballroom Blitz.
That's right. Yeah, you're right.
Ballroom Blitz.
It would have worked.
I think so too, man.
And we might be talking about it the same way, but I also like that it was stuck in the middle.
I like Stuck in the Middle with
his
you,
dance
and then
moves.
we'll keep Ballroom Blitz to Wayne's World.
There you go.
It's again, we said it, I believe, in our last week's episode, that juxtaposition of this kind of almost fun, kind of, poppy song, as he refers to it, Dylan-inspired bubblegum pop song.
Yes.
Steelers
That's
Wheel.
not Bob Dylan?
It's not Bob Dylan.
Joe Egan and Jerry Rafferty.
Joey Rafferty. And he's just, as he's referencing that, and then he just pulls out that blade from his boot, and he's just dancing around, and the look on the cop's face.
That's a horrifying situation.
It's extremely horrifying, and One thing to say before all this: lock the fucking door.
Lock the fucking door.
Like a Nice Guy Eddie just pops right in, like as you got a cop strapped to a chair, and this happens multiple times. We'll get to it, but yeah, like Kirk Balt's in that chair. Like when I'm watching this, like as a kid and everything, I'm like, yeah, go, Mr. Blonde. Yeah, go. I'm like, fuck.
No. Yeah.
Like he's he's explaining to him how he's going to torture him and how he's going to like it.
And how no matter what he says, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter to him.
And so this ear cutting scene, they shot it. They shot it like up close and like the ear getting cut off. K&B effects, Kurtzman, Nicotero, and Berger did effects for Walking Dead. A lot of like George A. Romero movies of 80s beyond, and just like most of the movies that you love that are very heavy when special makeup effects. But they shot this, and Harvey didn't want it in the scene or in the movie whatsoever. They didn't want it even implied at all.
That piece of shit.
So fucking disgusting. But they Tarantino kind of took a little bit of note with that and was like, maybe we don't need the actual close up of it, and just to do like a kind of a cut turn away from the scene itself. Very Hitchcockian, and he's a great proponent of Hitchcock. Turning away from the violence and then back to the aftermath of the violence is just so fucking brilliant.
And then where it says don't or watch your head.
Yes.
Up above that door, and it's just that's all you're reading. Watch your head.
So what happened to Mr. Blonde, right? Because they clearly trust him. He's been a rock for them for years. They've known him for so long. He goes to the joint, and now he's a fucking psychopath.
I think he's always been.
I think he's always been that person.
And it just now it's finally come out.
Yeah. I think they bank on him being this way.
But that's not the vibe I get. The vibe I get is that Joe's jobs are always like
precision.
Nothing goes wrong. And Blonde is the reason this whole thing went wrong.
It's true.
Right, you're right.
So something changed. Maybe he was always that psychopath underneath, but like, now he's full bore. He doesn't give a fuck at this point.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
And that's the thing. And
that black girl had to have been like maybe 15, 14,
20 years old.
Yeah.
Jesus.
He says, Mr. White says, this is what he was doing. Bam. Bam. Bam.
Yeah.
Like an absolute
bam, 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 bam.
Yeah. I don't like, and his excuse is, I don't like alarms, Mr. White.
How do you wake up in the morning, Mr. Blonde?
Yeah.
You just shoot your fucking alarm clock just like dead in the night? Like what do you do when your
pizza's
pizza's ready?
In prison, bro.
What do you do when your
Snooze that.
pizza alarm goes off?
Yeah.
Like 20 minutes for a pizza and you beeps? What do you do? You
Yeah,
shoot your fucking
shoot
pizza?
it?
You don't have lunch for the night?
Bam.
It's insane, man.
It's
and
scary.
it still jars me to this day. Like that shot from Orange comes out of it still comes out of left field for me when like Blonde gets blown away.
It is his Tarantino's like first inkling of tension building that he can do, especially in like Inglourious Basterds moving on, and in like Pulp Fiction with Vincent Vega coming out of the bathroom when Bruce Willis is right there. Like that tension building is so incredible because you're like, I do not want to see this guy burnt alive.
No.
And then Mr. Orange has been passed out this entire. No shot of him has been occurred at this time.
Right.
And then right as how about a little fire for it? Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
It's
Y'all
just
through?
like holy shit.
Y'all through?
Yeah.
Y'all
That's
through?
just terrifying.
That's like he can't
hate
be reasoned
it.
with. Can't be reasoned with. There's nothing that you're going to say, like you said, that is going to stop me from doing this.
Yeah.
And that is terrifying.
And Kirk Baltz, I think, does an amazing job of this. Like that'd be a hard thing to play.
Yeah.
And like even like to me it's kind of iconic the way like now Orange and him are talking. He goes Marvin Nash.
Marvin what?
Marvin
Nash.
And it's like it's not bad to me. It's just like very iconically like what would it feel like to have your ear cut off and be doused in gasoline and have your face all bruised up?
Yeah.
That
exactly.
might be how you talk. I don't know. It's nuts to me, man. I think he does a great job.
So he reveals to Marvin Nash that he's a cop, and
I know.
Or Freddie Newendike.
Freddie Newendike.
Freddie something.
He says there's like a few or like a brigade of cops waiting a couple blocks down, and Kirk Baltz is like, "What the fuck are they waiting for?" And I'm honestly like, what are they like? There's shots fired.
This whole thing went wrong.
There are shots fired, and like my big gripe with the film is like how big of a mob, quote unquote, boss is
Tyranny.
Joe.
Yeah, is Joe.
He might be gigantic, dude.
Like I guess so, but like they're waiting. What their thing is they're waiting for him to come in the door for everything to come into plan for the cops. But your undercover agent is shot in the gut.
Bleeding out.
There are
There's another cop inside.
4 or 5, right? 4 or 5 other cops that have been
Dead.
shot on the chase and everything like
Yeah.
that. How big is this guy? How big of a get is this guy to sacrifice all of their lives? I'm like, I don't know.
Well, you got to think like he's talking about. We've got so many locations. He's talking about making Blonde a dock worker. So it's almost like he's like some sort of union, teamster, gangster kind of a guy.
So he might be pretty big.
He could be pretty big. He's a head honcho. We got places all over, and part of your job is to travel. So they must be a big infrastructure.
This might have been a decade's worth of shit going down.
Sure.
Be like, we don't give a fuck about these other cops. We have.
Yeah.
If we don't get him now, we're 10 years is wasted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. With the undercover thing, I really wish that I could rewatch this for the first time, and not know about that. I really wish I could, because I feel like when I did watch this for the first time, I knew about it already.
Yeah.
Somehow, or like
Probably because you watched the end of the movie first.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I popped in the second VHS because the first one already had like stuff recorded on it. We took it from TV.
No, what you did is you read an IMDb user review.
Yeah.
Do not watch this movie.
not spoilers. No, but I do. I really wish I could, because this is a whodunit. It's like a whodunit for these criminals.
Yeah.
And they want to know who's the rat. They want to know who's the inside guy, what's going on. And you get very convinced of this when Nice Guy Eddie shows up and everything. There is no fucking setup. There is no setup. Nobody knows anything. Yeah. So I really wish I could rewatch this and not know that, and have a little shock to it,
Yeah. Well, flashback to Mr. Orange's involvement with the police force and how a commode story helped him get in with Joe and the rest of the robbers. We also see Joe's involvement with organizing the heist, and Orange and White's friendship develops. Flash forward to the near present, we see how Orange is shot after the robbery. Big fan of Holdaway. Like his very small part in this movie, his like partner or just like kind of police office,
Not really sure
undercover
what he is.
directive guy.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, but I'm a big fan of him.
He's so cool, and like he's like, as he's telling Mr. Orange, Freddie Neuendijk, this story of like, oh, you gotta do the commode story, or like, did you do the commode story? He's telling him and the audience like basically how to act. He's like, you gotta take these words and make them your own. You got to take this story and everything and make it your own.
From your perspective.
Exactly.
How you experienced it.
Maybe bring in my hot take.
Oh, you want me to hit the button?
I would like that.
Okay, here we go.
Boys, it's time for your Pepper Joe's Hot Take.
So in reference to Tarantino being like kind of a rip-off artist, there's a movie called City on Fire, directed by Ringo Lamb in 1987, which is widely known to Tarantino like ripping off directly. There's several scenes in this movie where there are like an undercover cop shot in the belly and everything like that. I think my hot take is that Tarantino needed to rip off that movie to become what he is. And in reference to that, I think that homage is a clever word to use, and an apt word to use for him, is because what he does is not rip off, he homages. And like in, say, Pulp Fiction, when Mia Wallace is talking to John Travolta's character in their house, and it's that close-up of her mouth on the mic. It's the same as in The Warriors, where the radio DJ does that. It's Django Unchained titles, Gone with the Wind style, is going across the screen, and Gone with the Wind does the same thing. And one of Tarantino's acolytes, one of his favorite filmmakers of all time, De Palma, The Untouchables, of Battleship Potemkin, the stairs scene where the baby carriage is coming down the stairs. De Palma rips that off from Battleship Potemkin, which is a movie from like the 1940s almost. Sam Peckinpah, Tarantino rips him off a lot with just slow-mo violence in general. I think the case to be made that he's a rip-off artist is not apt at all. I think he is just an homage person, and he is aware of it. He is letting the audience know that he is a fan of these movies, and where his movies are coming from are those movies. You should go check them out too, because this is where my influence on cinema becomes me. And what I think is beautiful about Tarantino is that you take your influences when you start off. You take your influences and you start there. Then you become yourself. And he's become one of the most prolific directors of all time in doing that. So my hot take is that I think he needed to rip off City of Fire to become what he is.
That's
Fair
fucking
enough.
great, man.
I
I think that's amazing. Creative arts get such a like a punch if it's like, oh, you put your melody line in that song is the same as this other song, or you did the same scene as that. It's like, why is that such a negative thing versus like Facebook and Instagram are basically TikTok now. Everyone has vertical reels, movies, videos, and it's like we don't call them out for literally stealing a creative idea of another company.
Yeah.
But we're like, that one guy did the same scene almost as the other guy. It's like that is an homage. That is, and who cares if you ripped it off? It's like there's only so many chords in the universe to like do,
exactly.
you know?
And
like,
there is a difference between rip off and homage, like totally, like that you can. Some people have totally ripped something off, but like if you are like referencing a scene from like Battleship Potemkin, like De Palma is in the stairs scene in Untouchables. It is no one's seen that scene for years, and maybe when they're seeing the Untouchables, they don't even know that movie exists.
Yes,
and so when he's referencing that, and you're like, maybe in film school or something like that, and you see Battleship Potemkin, and you're like,
go, holy shit!
Oh, well, I've seen that before. It's like that's what he's doing, man.
That's awesome.
He's introducing cinema to you, just kind of like our last week's episode of like introducing soundtrack songs to a new audience. That's what he's doing.
That's fucking great.
It's
man.
like new genres of things coming out of. Thank God this happened, so we now have this.
He's in.
You know what I mean? Thank God we had jazz, so now we've got like metal. You know what I mean? But it's the same idea of Django. Thank God we had westerns, so he could create this and make a great movie.
His other western, The Hateful Eight, is basically The Thing.
Yeah.
You know, and there's music from The Thing in Hateful Eight, and it's you know what he's Kurt Russell's in the Hateful Eight.
I know that we'll talk about like I think we're gonna get into it on Patreon, right? About like more of Tarantino
we'll talk
world.
more Tarantino
cool.
stuff on this Patreon for sure.
Sorry, the Mr. Orange's scene, right?
The whole commode thing, man. Yeah. I think this is my favorite part of the movie, almost, and this is where
I'm glad to hear that.
I don't like Tim Roth in the beginning. I love him. The way it's shot, the way he's, again, what I talk about this all the time, the acting like you're acting is so weird to me. And it's so, because I can't do it. I have no acting skills whatsoever. Like, I couldn't do that. And watching him do that movement from, like, he's learning it and he's reading the script to now he's in that weird backyard area, like, delivering the speech, and now he's delivering it to them as you're hearing the full story. It's so brilliant. So brilliant.
There's even a part where he catches himself when he's in his apartment, and he says, and they say to me, hey, are you going up? He's like, hey, Frankie, are you going up? Nope. Hey, guy.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, dude, are you going up to get the weed or whatever? So he catches himself because he's not supposed to say his name to these guys. So he has. It's amazing. It's a clinic.
It is.
And I think that this movie, honestly, is almost like it's like it's teaching people. It's like it's teaching students about cinema almost the entire time. Like throughout the entire thing, they're blatant tells of context and like what they're doing through Pink, like the references, as you say, not flashbacks, you know, but then also moments like this where you have a character describing to another character about how you need to be acting, how you should be taking on this role. And it's like it's teaching people about cinema in the movie. It's crazy.
And see, and you even referenced that earlier, which I didn't think about it this way, but I have a note already, is Orange is doing this story. He's making up this story, and he's doing it correctly, but those cops are not.
Yes.
But I also feel that then after that, they're in the car together, and Eddie's telling a story.
Yes.
And I don't feel like Eddie's story is true, And I feel like Orange calls him out. He even goes, "What do you mean?" Well, like, what do you mean?
No,
like
Pam
that?
Grier wasn't in that movie. She was in this movie.
Yeah, Orange like knows now when other people are not telling the truth because he's like now schooled in what is true and what is not when people are telling stories.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was even kind of a weird scene too, because like I never noticed it until this time around because of my love for Holdaway. Now is they're being very racist in the car.
Yeah.
And he seems kind of like,
Yeah.
And is
You're
that
right.
because of his friendship with Holdaway?
You know what? I never thought about that, but I have a note where it's like, yeah, he's got this one story that he rehearsed the entire time and was very charismatic about. But like now he's not very charismatic in the car.
Not
even,
at all.
But it might be because of that story.
He feels weirded out by this conversation.
I didn't think
of
about that.
This Black Beverly Hills and Ladera Heights. By
Yeah.
the way, are you guys Frank Ocean fans?
Oh yeah.
Channel
yeah.
Orange. Never realized it till I heard. I love Frank Ocean. Channel Orange. There's a song called "Sweet Life," and he says, "Black Beverly Hills, living in Ladera Heights,"
Oh.
and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Oh.
And I know that's not a reference to this movie. I think that was a slang for Ladera Heights was Black Beverly Hills. I think that was a
Gotcha.
true thing. But I was like, "Oh, that's why he said that."
That's
Fucking
fun.
crazy.
Oh,
Frank
man.
Ocean.
I do like that story that Eddie tells though. It's really funny and it does like this is what Tarantino does in like making these goons to be humanized. You know, like I like especially. I think it's like a reference gone wrong between Mr. Pink and Mr. Orange. Like, oh no, it wasn't this guy. It was that girl or something like that. And like Eddie begins to tell his story again, and they laugh to each other in the back.
Yeah.
It's like I want to see them like kind of interact more a little bit, but like it seems so genuine, just like kind of buddies in the back laughing at this
they've
joke.
developed this relationship kind of already.
It's
yeah.
very
insane.
charming.
And it's even the subtlety of like, no, that wasn't Pam Grier. Well, then who the fuck was it? He's like, how the hell should I know?
Yeah.
It's like, well, now my day's fucking ruined.
Yes, yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna think about that all day.
That's Tarantino, right?
They didn't have Google back then, bro.
No one else could put dialogue like this in a fucking movie.
Yeah.
If I wrote a movie that had dialogue like this, it would be fucking terrible. But I just
it would just be aping Tarantino.
It just Tarantino's such a this scene does not have to be in the fucking movie, but it fits perfectly, and I do not feel like, come on, get to the next scene.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, great.
Yeah. I
This is
know.
great.
It's so
It was a lot of fun.
strange.
And on top of Joe Tex, I gotcha. Huh? You
Yeah.
better didn't see it now, did you? I mean,
Ooga chaka,
fuck.
ooga chaka, ooga chaka.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the music again is just shining through at this point, and that ooga shaka, like from in just driving up,
What? Yeah. Why?
so strange.
Yeah.
The car starts leaving, and he goes, ooga shaka,
I can't
ooga,
stop this feeling.
ooga shaka,
Yeah.
ooga.
Oh, you mean the song from Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh,
That's when I
that.
first heard it.
He loves that.
Oh, Tarantino ripped that off.
So it was so
yeah.
funny when he kicked that little alien. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Anyways, so when Orange and Joe though are like becoming buds.
Yep.
The casual conversation of how you crowd control was very jarring to me when I first realized like what was going on. Like the idea that customers and stuff take the butt of your gun, bash their nose. It's like whatever, just bash their nose, and then everybody else will shut up. They'll drop to the floor screaming, blood's squirting out of their face. Like
Yeah.
nobody really gives you any
Tell
flack
him to cut
after
off his
that.
finger, the little
It's
one.
like, yeah, cut off his finger, the little one. You get a bank manager, thinks he's some Charles Bronson. He's like, cut off his finger, the little one. Tell him his thumb's next. After that, he'll
Done
tell you if
deal.
he wears ladies' underwear. It's just like,
I'm hungry. Let's go
jeez.
get a taco.
Yeah, and the line, I'm hungry. Let's go get a taco. Like the way he says taco, it's just one of those little
Makes you
things.
hungry for a taco.
Yeah, you're like, all right, I'll go get a taco with you.
We skipped this.
Oh, fuck.
I'm gonna take this from you. We skipped this. I want Blonde's cup, his drink when he comes into the
Oh,
warehouse.
wow.
That we talk about this a lot of the like when a food or a drink looks good, I want to drink whatever he's drinking out of that cup. And I want that cup, but also I did hear that is also a reference to a Big Kahuna Burger, right?
Oh, I love
that,
that.
that cup
Same
is
cup?
from Big Kahuna Burger.
I
It's
love
the same
that.
cup, same design. So I want Blonde's cup.
Okay.
Sweet.
And I want the contents of it too, because I want to drink it. I'm
Yeah,
thirsty.
yeah. with a little bit of Michael Madsen backwash.
Yes, correct.
What are you getting?
I don't usually go vehicles, but I think I'm going to this time. I was gonna do Joe's tusks behind him in his office.
But that would make you an asshole.
It would make me a total dickhead.
Yes, that'd make you a piece of shit.
I'm gonna go with Mr. Blonde's car. I think it's a Cadillac.
I read that was actually Madsen's car. Wasn't it?
So it's actually Michael Madsen's car. So it's real life. I can actually get it.
The budget was so low on this movie. Yes, 1.5 was so low on this movie. They used their own vehicles, which that was his own car, Michael Madsen's car. They wore some of their own clothes for their wardrobe. Like Steve Buscemi and Tim Roth are wearing jeans.
Yes.
They're wearing black jeans, not suit pants.
And one of them had like mismatching colors, I think. On
yeah.
Harvey Keitel had a suit that someone bought him for like a film festival he went to.
Yeah.
And that was it. And he was like, I'll just use that.
Just things like that, right? If I had to guess, there's a lot of things. There's
I have a suggestion for you if you don't. I mean, like, I'd like to hear what you think, but I do have a suggestion for you.
I'll hear your suggestion first, but I do have one in mind.
I want Nice Guys Eddie's track jacket.
The track jacket.
Which
really
is
good.
actually Chris
I think
Pence.
you'd look really. Of course it is. I think you'd look great in that.
I think it look good in that.
Yeah, I think you would.
I was gonna say Mr. White's comb
Oh, nice.
that he uses
that's cool.
on Mr. Orange and he
himself.
uses and himself and yeah. So need you cool? Are you cool?
Are you cool? There's a band called the Fun Loving Criminals. Has anyone ever heard of them?
Oh.
Running around, robbing banks, all whacked on the Scooby Snacks. Does anybody remember that? I had the album for some reason, but they sample that in a song. It goes, I need you cool. Are you cool? I'm cool. And then like the song starts or whatever. Never mind.
Fucking love it.
Nobody's ever heard that song? I'll play it for you.
I can't
on the
believe
Patreon.
none of us
I'll play it
took-
for you on the Patreon episode.
I can't believe none of us took the diamond suitcase.
Well,
I also want Mr.
Too
Pink's,
obvious?
I also want Mr. Pink's missing dollar.
Missing dollar. Yeah, that's right.
last thing in this scene, the look on Mr. Orange's face when he shoots that lady. He's shot and he just killed a woman is fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's
heartbreaking.
He's got there's very similar like mannerisms from characters. Like Michael Madsen wipes his hand several times on like the cop when he's doing the torture scene. Tim Roth is the gun hesitation.
Yeah.
Throughout
he
this.
does that like twice, doesn't he?
He does it during that, and he also does it during
After
he shoots Mr. Blonde.
Yeah.
And it's that hesitation, like he's got to be sure or something, or that hesitation of like, what did I just do, or that kind of a thing. And
I think that's what it is. It's like, what did I just do? And like in that scene too, where he shoots that lady, it's. I want to say humanize the goons, let's humanize the good people. Yeah, is like she had a gun and like there's two people with guns pointing at her.
What would you do?
Exactly.
She just if I had a gun in my hand that I didn't intend to use and then someone shot me, I would pull the trigger.
Yeah.
It sucks, man. Yeah. That's a heartbreaking scene because now we're
so sad.
He was already all in. Now that he's been he was already kind of all in. Now he's very much all in.
Like
this is the end of him.
As he saw Mr. White shoot two cops with two guns, he's like, "Fuck!" And then this happens. He's like, "This is so off the rails."
And he's already a little jarred from Mr. Brown dying. He watched Mr. Brown die.
Yeah.
He's like, "Is he dead? Did he die? Come on, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah,
we gotta go." And he's like, what do we do? Yeah. Like, he's dead. Well, what do we do? No, you just leave him? Okay, we leave him. It's a very jarring situation, I think, to watch it all go down. And then it just lands us right back where we kind of started with him in the back seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, final scene, flashing forward to the present. Eddie, White, and Pink return to the warehouse to find Blonde dead. Orange struggles to defend himself. Joe arrives and confidently accuses Orange of being an informant. White comes to Orange's defense. A Mexican standoff ensues, leaving everyone dead except Orange and White severely wounded. Pink, who hid to avoid the shootout, takes the cache of diamonds and flees the warehouse. Orange tells White he is a cop as police invade the warehouse. Did you know Nicolas Cage was supposed to be Nice Guy Eddie?
What?
I read that Nicolas Cage auditioned for the role of Nice Guy Eddie.
No shit.
And I would have loved it.
Dude.
I love Chris Penn
as
Nice Guy Eddie. This whole final scene, him, stop pointing the gun at my fucking dad, the fucking gun at my dad. Unbelievable. However, if there was one person that maybe could have done it better, it's maybe Nick Cage.
We're still holding out for it, man. Like, apparently Tarantino's got one more movie left. Nicolas Cage.
Put Nick in there. Put Nick in there. This is where I love Chris Penn. That guy waves that phone around like it is a gun. Like, I'm telling you, like, when he's like, so you're gonna tell me, you're telling me that he was gonna shoot us, he was gonna kill you and the cop. What, this cop right here?
That's shocking.
Shocks the hell out of you, and then just goes on. And he says, so that's your story. I've got that right. That's correct.
Right.
I've got that correct.
Really happened?
He's like, so this man who just spent 4 years in, he's like, got caught in a warehouse with warehouse full of hot items. Could have just said my dad's name. He could have walked. He did 4 years. He took it like a man. And now when we're making good on our commitment, he's just going to out of the fucking blue,
decide
he's
gonna rip us off.
Why don't you tell me what really happened?
In his eyes, man. His eyes, yes.
Really happened.
I buy it so hard.
Oh man, I get chills at that part. More so than like any other part in this. I get chills as that slowly zooms in on him and you see his eyes widen up out of the fucking blue. Like, you're just whoa.
It's so okay, help me out here, Shaun. Again, I have questions for you. The Mexican standoff here. Did White shoot 2 people?
Yes.
Are we sure about that?
I slowed it down many times in my lifetime of watching this movie 100 times in a row. I've slowed it down, and Joe shoots Orange first.
Joe shoots Orange.
White shoots Joe. And nice guy Eddie shoots White. White has time to turn around and shoot nice guy Eddie.
What do you think about the theory that Pink was hiding in the corner and shot?
I'm also into that too. I think he's too much of a pussy. I think he's too much like on his own and wants to see this kind of play out.
Okay.
I think he's too smart for that to like get involved. But that's interesting because I like it.
Well, if you're Pink, who's he gonna shoot?
Exactly.
Well, at this point, who was the one who did White shoot the second shot?
Eddie.
It was Eddie. So, but if you're Pink, you're going, cool, Eddie's going to survive. Like, Eddie's going to shoot. Like, if this whole Mexican standoff happens, Eddie's going to survive.
Oh.
So what if Pink's like, well, I don't want to fuck with Eddie after this. Because his dad just died. So what if Pink's got his gun on Eddie if he's looking at this roundabout table thing?
I see.
He's hiding in the corner.
Well, this is a serious JFK assassination.
It is, man.
Yeah, there's a grassy knoll in here somewhere.
Yeah.
But there was also a theory that Orange shot, but Orange is out of bullets in his gun.
Orange doesn't have bullets.
Somebody did say that it looks like there's a smoke shot, like a smoke trail from Orange.
He does have an ankle gun.
Okay.
Yeah.
We saw him do that when he's getting in the car.
Gun. They did say that there's a smoke trail that comes from Orange. Which I believe I saw. Again, you've got to go back. You got to watch it like 800 times.
And I still couldn't
It's
figure
so
it out.
quick. You know what? And it's also like the movie that this was ripped off from, technically homaged.
Homage,
Please
thank
get
you.
it right, okay?
City of Fire by Ringo Lam. There's a Mexican standoff scene in that movie too, and it's not as good. And I would argue that like this in one shot, in like one locked off wide shot of these 4 characters in this scene right now is as good as Tarantino's later works, as like Inglourious Basterds, the bar scene, the bar shootout. It's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, that is a different level of filmmaking, but this is like the indie filmmaker of just like this one shot. But it's also like more jarring and works way better with this story than it does with like say Inglourious Basterds, where it's like more of a heightened reality kind of thing.
Because this is where they all know each other to a degree. You know?
And so in like one shot, it's very westerny. It's very like obviously Mexican standoff, kind of like a John Wayne. And this is like what he was influenced by way more than anything else. Is like the not Wild Bunch, but the John Wayne movie. Come back to me.
Sure.
Start talking about something.
Well, I was just gonna say, I just think it's with nice guy Eddie or whatever having that, and he's talking, and he's got that low tone, and it's like, go back a long ways, Larry. He's using his name.
Yep.
He's not supposed. He's using his name.
Too late now.
Yep. He's like, we go back a long way. We can solve this. We talk this out. And he says, Joe, you shoot that man, you die next.
Yeah.
I repeat, you shoot that man, you die next. Damn you, Joe. Don't make me do it. And then when Chris Penn, I heard it so many times because I rewound it so many times to try to figure out who shot first.
I did too.
Damn it, stop pointing that gun at my dad.
Stop pointing that fucking gun at my dad.
And then it just all goes off, and like I rewatched it so many times, and it's like ingrained in me now.
Yeah.
Rio Bravo is the film I was thinking of.
Rio
It's
Bravo.
It's another contained like thriller where they're in like a prison holding like somebody hostage
okay.
and
It
stuff.
sucks so bad for White because White is literally dying and standing up to be dead for a man who double crossed him.
Yeah.
You
so
feel bad for
it
him.
sucks.
Like
It sucks, and that is why. So does White kill Orange?
See,
Again, there's
I
all
have-
these like
I have different like as a kid when I was thinking about
Yes.
this because Pink takes off.
yes,
But also you hear in the background
Yep.
gunfire and
Yep.
shouting and everything like that. In my head, I was like, I like these characters so much. I think Pink got away, and then Pink came in when the cops broke in and was like, hey buddy, drop that fucking gun. And I think Pink came in and shot those guys, and then Pink and White got away, and they just kind of ran off.
you want that to be it.
That's
when
what I
you're-
wanted to happen as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple fan theories here. One is that Pink actually did get away,
Right.
and that he had to go in hiding, and as a sick,
I know where this is
twisted
going.
fucking game of the universe for this bad person,
I know where this
he
is
had
going.
to change his identity and become a waiter. In Pulp Fiction at the Buddy Holly place, because this is why he's so unhappy in there. He's like, God damn it, I'm a fucking waiter. But there's also another thought process that many people think Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs are the same universe. We've
Yeah.
already kind of established that.
Tarantino has confirmed that.
Yeah, 100%. So there's some thoughts that Pulp Fiction is a prequel to Reservoir Dogs, where Pumpkin is Mr. Orange.
Ooh.
Like he is actually Pulp Fiction, Pumpkin being before he then, cleaned himself up and went into the police force. The Wolf is Mr. White. That was
Yeah.
like what he did prior to this. And there's dialogue that backs that up. His rant about not paying tips. Mr. Pink explained he used to work a minimum wage job, and that very job he's talking about could be a stint at Buddy Holly's.
Yeah.
Or as Buddy Holly at Jack Rabbit
Jack
Slim.
Rabbit's,
So
yeah.
just a thought there.
That's crazy.
I like
Yeah.
that a lot.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Um,
And that's fun.
And
That's
that's
fun.
And that's
super
fun to think
We're
about.
having a
Wow.
great time.
What
That
a
is
good-
fun to think
what
about.
a fun.
No
I
matter-
didn't say it was fucking true. God. What is the matter with you? Well,
actually, you know what happened? I'll tell you what. Actually, what happened? If you go back,
It's not true because they have different names.
if you go back and you actually read,
You read the Tarantino encyclopedia.
if you just actually tried,
Fuck.
I'll tell you what. No, I was
Yeah.
going to say again. This was the big reason why I wanted to actually go back and read the script.
Yes.
And
What is it?
So what I wanted to hear is I wanted to see if they wrote the dialogue of the cops in the
external?
background.
Did they?
Very few lines of it.
Okay.
However, so it does say in that cops say, "Get out of the car."
Mm.
Pink says, "Don't shoot, don't shoot." Then it ends that. And it does say, from what I read, that that White pulls the trigger and then is shot out of
Yes.
frame from a shotgun blast.
Okay.
Shotgun blast happens and he is knocked out of frame and cuts to
So
black.
White is shooting Orange.
Right.
And then White is getting shot by cops.
Right.
But we still didn't resolve Pink.
We technically didn't resolve Pink. He just said it ended
Don't
with him
shoot,
saying,
don't shoot.
don't
Okay.
shoot. So that's where it ends at.
And what a fucking song to end on. How do you make that choice? How do you consciously be like, no, it's cool because we're gonna end this. We're gonna end the Titanic with Bawa to Ba. I mean, like, thank you. We haven't given that to yeah. Bawa to Ba, bang, bang, ding. Hey, guess what? It probably would have worked.
The hot dog flavored water goes Limp Bizkit instead, just like
Boom, 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 boom. But no, for real, how do you have the balls to be like, lime in the coconut? Like, that's how we're going to end this unbelievably sad movie where everyone dies.
It's the kind of song and ending of a movie where you stick around for the entire credits to listen to the song because it's such a good fucking song. And, like, it's...
Unlike Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
Please.
Okay. Lady Gaga, thanks for nothing.
Why are we doing this?
Yes, okay.
But it's, like, it's such a, like, it's... The tone of it is somber almost, but it's also ironic because that's what this kind of movie kind of is. It's like it's in on the joke with you. It's in on the story. This is all pulp, to put that in there. It is like very pulp. It's just like I don't know. This is all make believe. This is all cinema. Yeah. Okay, so that we're gonna play a song that kind of does not have anything to do with the story that we just told, but it's also very telling of what we just told.
I think it's the perfect ending.
One of the things that I probably read into too much was in the lyrics, it talks about to relieve this belly ache, and I feel like that was a reference to Orange.
Whoa.
That's what I thought.
That's cool.
Like to relieve this belly ache because in the entire movie is his stomach.
And you know what? That's fun to think about.
Like
That's
fun.
That's a
Right?
It's fun to think about theory that's fake.
The song was written before that.
I do. I think it's like he was technically, he's like almost the focal point. He is the rat of these criminals. He's a cop.
Is he the main character?
I don't know if he.
I think he is.
Yeah.
I think.
You think so?
Yeah. Yep.
And I think that's fun to think about. And I also think that, but the fact is, like, the entire movie is him reeling around with a fucking bullet in his stomach, in his gut. And it's like to relieve this belly ache in that line, to drink the lime in the coconut, and like to relieve this belly ache.
His belly ache was relieved at that moment.
He's asking for a doctor, and he's got a belly ache. That's what my mind goes.
Hell yeah, dude.
We have
wow
done it with a modern eye. We've talked about the untalkable Reservoir Dogs. We've
Boom!
done it. Modern eye rating. AJ, what do you got, man?
I love this movie, man. I really do. I think it's it's something somehow that I can watch almost any time, but I'd be upset if I was watching it and other people weren't. You know what I mean? Like, because I want to focus on the movie, even though I've watched it 100 times. I really love it. I think it's like this rough around the edges type of movie that makes number one is almost like a clinic for film students, and I just think that watching it also makes you feel like you can make a movie like this.
Yes,
you have the ability to do this, and that's what Quentin Tarentino did. And he was going to do it with $30,000 in black and white, and he probably would have succeeded even then. Yep. And I think that's the biggest thing. So, again, some of my favorite actors are in this movie. I love Tim Roth. Steve Buscemi is a king to me, and same with Harvey Keitel. So, I'm going to give this movie a 9.2.
Shaun, what about you?
I don't know
buddy?
how to say it any better, honestly, because like AJ hit it on the head, where it's like this is kind of a clinic in filmmaking and like indie filmmaking, and it's like if you want to make films, watch this movie and you can see how it's done. You can see the seams. It's kind of rough around the edges, like he said. I don't need to say anymore. Just listen to AJ. This is a 9 for me.
9 for Shaun. Totally agree with everything. This is the definition of the biggest band in the world and their first album just blowing it out of the fucking water.
Yeah.
Coming on the scene being like, fuck everybody, I just changed the game.
Yeah.
And that is him. And for me, it's still not my favorite Tarantino, but even if this were my worst Tarantino, it's still fucking better than most movies. So I'm an 8.4. Tyler Dark, executive producer, he said, "What an amazing movie, gentlemen. From the soundtrack down to the cinematography, I love this movie. I love the breakdown of each of the criminals we get, from the old vet to the young, fresh crook to the professional thief. The crew remains to this day one of my favorite crime teams in heist movies. The realism in the distrust, as well as the visceralness we get from a wounded man, which, to be honest, you see in a lot of Tarantino films now that I look back, always has my undivided attention when I sit down and watch this movie. Seeing Mr. Orange writhe in pain in that car is uncomfortable to the max, but riveting at the same time. You truly want him to live and to get help. And that's not even covering Mr. Blonde's pure psychopathic behavior. I could rave about this movie all day, but I have to give it a score to tie up the episode. My modern-day score is going to be an 8.7 out of 10. So that takes us to an 8.83. 8.83. If you're looking all the movies we've done so far, an overall score, that is number 6. That is just above The Goonies and just below Home Alone.
Okay.
We were in the holiday spirit when we watched Home Alone. Okay, guys.
I don't think we had an executive producer for that either.
Yeah. We didn't have somebody be like, "This is the worst movie I've ever seen." So that is
we didn't have Jeremy then, so we could get like, "Hey, what do you think?" I don't know.
I mean, if you watch Home Alone at the right point of the year, it's a fucking 10 for everybody.
Great. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, it's a great movie. But that puts Reservoir Dogs at number 6 on our overall list, and we are glad you were here. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for being here. Tune in next Wednesday for another great episode. It's Patreon pick with Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and then we start the summer of 70s with Jaws. Hopefully Joey's still listening.
Maybe even Tarantino will listen to the summer of 70s.
Yeah, that'd be great.
He sure does like us a lot.
Yeah.
Tell me if I was right about Harry Nilsson. Quentin. Q.
Quentin, call me.
Tarantino. QT. I don't know.
I'll be at the Cheesecake Factory.
Cutie.
I'll be at the Sizzler if you want to get some grub.
And if you're new to the podcast, go back this time last year. Listen to Encino Man. We destroyed the main character of that movie, and I've had a lot of people reach out to be like, you're absolutely right.
It's a beautiful thing because we don't discuss what we thought about a movie before we get to recording, and we all had the same assumption. We're like, this piece of shit.
This piece of shit.
Dave sucks.
Dave Morgan, .com.
Dave Morgan is trash.
And last but not least, we do have a voicemail. You can call us and leave us your thoughts on the show or tell us some fun stuff. 319-804-9596. Here's today's voicemail.
What's up, guys? My name is Sarah, and I'm from Pacific Northwest, Oregon.
Nice.
So naturally, my little Oregonian heart was extremely happy when you did the Goonies.
Obviously.
Just wanted to call in and say, one, you do indeed have women listeners, so go ahead and change your name to LL Confused Breakfast because ladies love ya. And two, I keep thinking of recommendations, and then you guys keep fucking doing them. So good job. But the last two that have been on my mind are Forrest Gump, which is a comfort classic, of course, and the original Jumanji. We need some more Robin Williams in this queue. Anyways, love what you guys do. Thanks for keeping me from wanting to murder someone when I'm stuck in traffic.
You bet.
Can't wait to see what's next for you. Bye.
What year is it? Sorry.
Love that we got the lady listeners, man. It makes a guy feel
Forrest
good.
Gump and Jumanji. Holy
Dude.
shit. Great suggestions.
Yep.
Yeah.
They will be done.
Yeah.
Hey, my brother lives out that way, so I think he's like Washington. He's kind of close to you, so you could just meet my brother.
He's single.
He's fun. He's a cool person. All right, bye.
I don't know if he's single, but I just said it.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, bye.
Thanks, Sarah. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
All right, thanks for listening, guys. Please stay in touch with us by following on all of our social media platforms at Confused Breakfast on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and Confused Be Fast on Twitter. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast and leave a review on the podcast platform of your choice right now.
Also, we have merch. You know you want to rep the Confused Breakfast in public. Mugs, stickers, shirts, all kinds of goodies. Go to confusedbreakfast.com for a direct link.
And don't forget about our voicemail number, 319-804-9596. Links to everything you could ever need from us are in the show notes or at confusedbreakfast.com. This includes a way to follow all of us individually in our personal projects that we want you to check out. Mission of the day, tell your friends about us. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.